Welcome into the TexAgs Rewind presented by Specs. Find your perfect pairings during Specs' huge wine sale going on all month long with savings on hundreds of wines. Love is in the aisles at Specs. The fun starts here. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studios, the TexAgs Rewind, and we had a fun show today. One of the parts that I enjoyed was something that happened when we weren't on air. It was when Caitlin over there told me, Caitlin Cruz, by the way, never seen her. Have you been on the Rewind before?
No, I haven't.
Okay, she works behind the scenes often. She mentioned she was a fan of a particular Bad Bunny song, so that automatically meant that Nick wanted her here in the studio. So, Caitlin, favorite part of today's show?
I really like Tom Schubert. He's just a great guy and always really nice whenever I introduce him to come in here.
So that's why you like him, because he's a nice man. What about his content?
It's really good content. He knows
basketball, right?
Yeah, he knows basketball for sure.
Miss Dreyer, what was your favorite part?
I like Coach Ford once again, and also John Harris. They both always have a lot of good information. John Harris was just funny today.
Nick Savage, your favorite part of the show?
You, David.
Oh.
You were my favorite part of the show today.
What about me?
I don't really like
particular?
Bad Bunny, though. Bad Bunny, not so much.
But what did you like about me? Like, I want the people to the tease.
Cool duck camp shirt. I mean, that's
cool.
good.
Yeah.
Good.
So nothing about my
good
content.
takes. I mean, good takes.
The Mahomes stuff?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
OB was on the show. Kendall Rogers was on the show. It's D1 Baseball Week. We've got an Aggie baseball series coming up. Softball's top 5. It is all good here on the Rewind. Check it. We're broken up into thirds, but let's just for a moment pretend we're broken up into halves, okay? We have one good half and one real bad half. And I'm not going to tell you which one the go hour is.
It gets better after I leave.
or the reverse, or we start off with a bang. What we saw yesterday, I hate to say it's predictable, but it's freaking predictable.
Yeah. You know, I know you're a Batman guy, right?
Oh,
so
he's a great dude.
So many of the Aggies games remind me of the old Batman TV show. Because the first part, you know, they're in trouble, they're in peril, it looks like they're doomed, and then what do you see? You see bang, pow, wham, they come back they prevail at the end.
Well played,
and that's
sir.
what happened last night.
So, like,
No.
do it all. To me, this team's like a lot of times when you watch a team play, you think you know how it's going to play out because, they just don't have it tonight, right? Right? Tonight, they just don't have the shot. Tonight, they're not in sync with defense. But what this team does is they're never out of it, and they're never completely going to win it either, it feels like at times, right? Because, like, the credit that Buzz, I think, deserves, he deserves a lot of credit. One of the credits he deserves is his in-game adjustments. They made defensive adjustments. Mm-hmm. They made offensive adjustments, and it worked.
Yeah, they looked like a team that had 3 cups of coffee at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
Because they seemed to be a little lackluster, or a lot lackluster in the first half.
Yeah.
They didn't seem as energetic, and they came out in the second half. Really, it started, like Buzz pointed out, just before the end of the half, the last minute and a half. But in the second half, I just got the feeling there for a while that they might pitch a shutout.
It felt like that. It was, at one point, was it 7:20 you said that they went scoreless Georgia in the second half?
7 minutes and 20 seconds without any scores. And then they didn't hit their first field goal until I think 7:35 was remaining in the second half. So they went 10 and a half minutes, 12 and a half minutes, I think 12 and a half minutes without a field goal, without putting in the basket. They needed some.
Which is part of the game. It's a very important, it's an integral piece.
It was very enjoyable to watch that game on Sunday. Very, very enjoyable to see that organization get its teeth kicked in on many, many, many levels. Karma can be a B, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that love that organization. Players, I'll tell you this, the players are actually not even close to the worst ones. It's more the media, people around the team that just act like they're, what doesn't stink because the team they work for is all of a sudden the greatest thing since sliced bread. And okay, well, you got knocked down to reality. So, let's not be jerks. Let's, do radio segments. Let's not act like you don't have, 15 minutes to do a radio interview because oh, you're saving, the world from the problems because you announce for the Chiefs or things like that. So see them knock down a peg a little bit from that perspective. And it was great to see them get physically beaten the hell up. Now, it's time for us to do that. It's time for us to be that team. And that's what this, kind of going back to the original question, that's what kind of this offseason is all about. Let's find some players that can take this team to a different level. And each of the last few years, we've been able to do that. But now we got to push it over the edge and get to that spot where the Chiefs were, to supplant them. And then hopefully we don't turn it to a bunch of a-holes because our football team is really good.
Johnny, you say that, and I laugh because I remember thinking the exact same thing when I covered the Texans about the Patriots media. And I've thought the same thing about the Alabama football media, right? Like it's interesting. And maybe people thought that about the Astros during their runs, right? Like Astros media. But I think it's interesting though, like when an organization wins and the media take credit for it, like almost like they had a part in the role. I mean, we all play a minor part, but to be braggadocious, bigger than the other markets because of it, I always found to be ridiculous.
Yeah, I do too. And look, I work for the Texans, and I'll be the last one to tell you, oh, the Texans are the greatest thing since sliced bread. Like, I have a hard time even saying, the Texans are going to be good. And I know they're going to be good, but I just have a hard time saying that.
Trisha, you mentioned Mac earlier. She's been in studio. What a way to welcome yourself to this community, right? Like, just talk about the personality, the production, and just what pitchers are thinking facing her.
Yeah, I think, Mac is special. I tell her, I was like, if you were a male, you would be, first rounder, She is a professional hitter, full of life. But she, when it comes to softball and hitting, there's a method to her madness, right? So she is always, has a plan. She's writing down in her hitting book, in game. She has a hitting book. And so she's just talking through at bat, and she's been through it. She's a super senior, so she kind of understands how pitchers are going to attack her. I think as an opposing pitcher, I would hate. Yeah.
I want to follow that up because how often do young players like that have a hitting book that they're updating in game?
Yeah, she's been one of the first that I've coached. But what's cool about it is she's also brought it to others in our program. Coach Harger has talked to them a lot of times about having a hitting book, and they do that after practice or after games, but not necessarily in game. And so now she has a couple of our players also doing that. So that's the great, like when you're around greatness breeds greatness. So,
Coach, gotta ask you about Kramer's catch. I mean, what was your reaction? And then just seeing the aftermath of what, you know.
So the thing is I'm blocked. I can't see the left field line, line. So I'm like, I didn't know if Coco caught it, Kramer caught it, like who, because they were all there. Yeah. So when I was able to watch it on video, probably about an hour after game, I was like, man, that was big time. So Kramer, she cracks me up. She goes, I should have caught it the first time. And I'm like, well, you caught it. Like the number one rule in outfield is catch the ball, right?
Even if you need 2 attempts.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Am I right? We're 7-8 minutes into this segment, and I haven't brought up Emily Kennedy yet, which never has happened before.
I know.
Her second career no-hitter, 2-0 on the weekend. I'm sure you can't come up with new things to say, but she's just dynamic.
Yeah. She just continues to go out and handle the pressure. Last year she kind of came in and she had worked, but we knew about Emily Kennedy, but I don't feel like the nation knew about Emily Kennedy. And now this year you come into it, everybody is prepping for Emily Kennedy, right? When we play A&M, that's who we're prepping against. And so I thought she handled it really well. She came in some high leverage, high stress pitches, and she did a great job. In Baylor, she came in, ended up getting that win, and then she had her other 2 that, she pitched the whole game. So, lefty doing lefty things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I want you to compare it to other teams that are considered to be good and their deficiencies, Kendall.
Yeah, if you look at A&M's deficiencies right now, I guess we can call them deficiencies. It's more like I just kind of want to see it. But the biggest thing for me with this team is, how does the back end of the bullpen shaping up? Because I think we all are believers in Josh Stewart and Clayton Freshcore and Weston Moss is a really nice arm, et cetera. But, Evan Ashenbeck last year, I mean, just what he was able to do, like it was when he was in the game was essentially over. And, is there a guy, Cam Freshcore, Cam Stewie, guys like that, can they be Evan Ashenbeck? And that's a really, really tough shoe to fill. But I think that's the only thing for me that I look at and go, okay, I really want to see how that pans out. I think they'll be good. Can they be like 75 to 80% of what Evan Ashenbeck was last year? If they can, that's really good news for the team because I'm a full believer, obviously, in Prager at the front end. I think Lampkin, I thought at the end of last year, I thought his stuff looked the best that looked all year long. I think he takes a step forward. And then Miles Patton, he wasn't awesome the day I saw him in the fall, but it sounds like he's been really good. He's, this lineup has had trouble squaring him up. He's got good off-speed stuff. So, I mean, A&M right now just checks all the boxes. And I guess positionally, if you're going to ask me, hey, again, like I don't really consider it a deficiency, but like the one question mark, I guess would be, what do they do at first base with, Matt Bergevin and, Blake Bender up? Those two guys are both, big time power hitters, but will one of those guys kind of stand out defensively? Because you know what, if not to say either one of them was a poor defender, but you've got to have really good defense at first. I mean, we saw that with LSU a couple years ago with Trey Morgan, with his awesome defense. I mean, he saved game after game after game. He's the reason why his defense at first base is the reason why they won the national championship to some degree. So that's how important defense is at that position. And of course, Caden Kent shifting over to shortstop, that will be really interesting to follow just because Ollie, I thought was really good last year.
All right, Kaylin, tell the people what they should be doing right now.
Go like, comment, and subscribe.
Why do you act like you've done this before if you've never done it before? Like, why do you act like
I'm
a
always
pro?
like watching.
Hey, you can tell her
so,
she's looking at the wrong camera.
Yeah, you're looking at the wrong camera.
Which camera is it?
It's the purple one.
I can't see purple.
Because I'm messing with you. It's the red one. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.